Rancho Santa Marta is a home for needy children. About 140 miles south of the border, it is about 3.5 hours drive from San Diego. It is a home that was started approximately 3 years ago as a result of a burden placed on the hearts of Bill and Kay Lawrence by the Lord Jesus Christ. Children are taught to love God. They are taught how to take care of themselves. They are taught a trade. And most of all, they are loved. Journey with us now as we drive down the coast to Rancho Santa Marta and meet the Lawrences and their children. And now, here is Bill Lawrence, Director of Rancho Santa Marta.
The people that make up the staff here at Rancho Santa Marta believe that God has given us Santa Marta for several purposes. The main purpose, of course, is to provide a Christian home for the children that God has sent to us. He's given us a large working ranch for the fact that our children can learn responsibility, learn what it is to be part of a ranch, home life, and the fact that this is the basic work of most Mexican national people here in Baja is farm. Beyond that, we believe that God would use this home visiting groups to help evangelize their own people. To provide facilities for large work groups to come from the states and other parts to come and be a part of this ministry, be a starting off point, a jumping off point for them to become involved in evangelism here in the country of Mexico. This summer we plan to provide kind of a pilot program where we'll have some teachers come in, bilingual teachers, and have the beginning of our trade school, which will just be run for 4 weeks, a summer session. But we believe as the Lord provides the staff, full-time staff, that this will be part of the ministry here. As the summer months come and approach us now, we have many college-age students that would like to come and serve for summer. Some have come last summer. And we look forward to this also being an opportunity for young people seeking to know God's will for their life to come and see firsthand missionary life and to be in an area of helps and service to others. The ranch is 400 acres plus. The barley that you see we planted here with the help of the children this last year, and the wheat. Hopefully, as years go by, we'll be able to someday help provide for the maintenance of this home through the agriculture here as we take our own product to market.
Having many children and having a home for the children, we feel it's quite important that children begin to learn responsibilities. And they all have tasks. They have daily jobs that they each have to do. One of those areas, of course, is taking care of the animals, of which we have many animals here in this ranch. We have several children that their responsibilities each day are to come out and see that these animals have feed. course, some of the animals need to be taken out to pasture, and it gives them not only a certain area of responsibility, but very indirectly they're learning something that hopefully will serve them in the years to come as they themselves have families and have ranches or work for someone else. They'll have some knowledge in these areas. With the sheep and the pigs, and the cows, rabbits, chickens, and ducks. What originated was a very large pork ranch. All of the corrals that we see here on this ranch at one time were full of pigs. And all the farming, the agriculture, the growing of grain, such as barley and wheat, all went back into the production of pork, which of course was the marketable product of Rancho Santa Marta way back in the early 50s. Even though we're away from the production so much of animals, we still use the farming for that same purpose, for our own animals, to have feed for them. One of our dreams has been to be able to update the livestock here, to improve upon it, and this is a project that you see here now. We just started this summer, where we brought in some better stock of animals. We're using the harvest from last year, the grain, the barley seed, which was milled to make into feed, and of course some that you see was baled for the fattening up of these animals. And eventually we hope that, this is just beginning, and hopefully our herd will grow to a larger number of animals that we can have and feed and raise for our own meat production here in this ranch, and in years to come hopefully be able to provide and help other people who lack the meat or the protein in their diet. The rabbit production we started when we first came here to Rancho Santa Marta 3 years ago, and now it's grown with the number of rabbits we have to the point where we can eat rabbit approximately once a meal during 1 week, and we feel that probably it's one of the most profitable projects we have is the rabbit production for the amount of expense that goes into them. Again, the children have the responsibility of taking care of the rabbits, seeing that they're fed and cleaned up, and the area around here kept clean. Some of the adults do take the responsibility of seeing that the records are kept up to date on the production of the rabbits, so we know what's productive and what's not, and what's ready to be butchered. We do have dairy animals here as well, although they're quite expensive to care for, so we're trying to eliminate or do away with too much of a dairy product. However, we will hopefully increase the beef cattle. This dairy cow, we have another one that's also going to be expecting any day. So we'll try to keep that a very, very small project, dairy. Quite expensive to provide fresh alfalfa for them on a daily basis, particularly in comparison to the amount of powdered milk that we have donated to the home. A good thing, particularly for some of our older boys, our teenage boys, have learned how to take care of the cows, and of course learn how to milk the cow morning and night, and also process the milk so that at least our small children here in the home have fresh milk to drink daily. The horses belong to staff members that have come for a month or a year at a time and wanted something for their own recreation on their time free. But it's also been nice, in fact, the children here have had something to ride, or at least somebody to go with them for rides. This is what you see directly ahead. Also, you have a little idea of some of the farmland. You see what has already been seeded and the new barley seed for this year, and what was just seeded just yesterday. And you also get an idea of the boundary lines of this ranch, and then the beginning of another dorm house, which will be a girls' dorm. It was just started several months ago. We just put all the rough plumbing in so we can finish the floor, and hopefully by Easter time of this year we will have the walls up and pretty much ready for completion by summer. Also gives you some idea of some of the agricultural equipment that's here. A couple pieces we've purchased since we've been here, and of course our desire is as time progresses that we can purchase more equipment. The idea of expanding the agricultural program. The harvest from the fields, of course, is turned back into feed for the animals that we do have. Rooms that we see straight ahead were originally pig pens, which we've built complete structures on the foundation of these pig pens, which have become now dormitories for our visitors. We have a men's dorm and women's dorm, complete kitchen. It's used when the groups come. They do their own preparation of their food. We also have a classroom. Then we have an apartment, 2 separate apartments for some of our overflow in the summer months for summer staff, college, high school students that come and help us out. Also in the process of enclosing 2 additional pig pens for storage area. There will be some additional expansion in the next few weeks for our rabbit project, since we need more cage area. When I say pig pens and people stay in these pig pens, they need to quickly point out the fact that these are nice cemented clean rooms. We've also provided toilet facilities with showers and sinks in each one of the dorms, so we can handle 35 to 40 young people who generally make up our work groups that come down either through the summer months or Easter, other vacations. You can always use workers, volunteer workers to come. And that's, of course, what has brought us up to this point in the 3 years we've been here, has been the faithfulness of those who've come and really helped us out in the area of the physical labor that's taken to bring the changes about in this ranch. The rock garden we see here has been started by some of the groups that have been down from the States visiting, as well as our own children here in this home who've worked on it. The idea was to be able to have a little area where the groups, when they're here, have an area they can retreat to have some Bible studies or just have some recreation. The little house we see up on the top of the hill is also part of this ranch, and we're believing God someday that we might have a trailer park in that area for many of our visitors who do come that either have their own campers or trailers, or retired people who might come and plug into our ministry for several months at a time just to help us in many of these areas where we can use either the talent or abilities of some technical people.
Anytime.
The dormitories, of course, are used by the visiting groups from the States, but we feel it's also been an area that God's laid on our hearts to provide an opportunity and a place where young people can come, spend either a week in the area of helping a group or be here for several months at a time as they're truly seeking to know God's will and want to know what it's like to live and be on the front line of the mission field. And so we have many young people who will come and give us 3 months, 6 months, or even up to a year of their time as they're seeking God's will for their lives. These young people, of course, plug into our program here, helping us with the daily chores, some of the building projects, some of the farming, as well as giving support to the taking care of the children and all the responsibilities that entails each day. Okay. Olive trees are a yearly olive production, which of course is turned into olive oil. Many olives are saved and used in the Mexican cooking. There's a lot of olives in enchiladas and tacos, tamales. The main house of the ranch is where Kay and myself and our children live. Larger section in the front is a common kitchen and dining room for all staff and children where we eat all our meals together. one of the first projects that we dove into when we first came to Rancho Santa Marta. Most of the trees and flowers, cactus, of course, have been planted since we've been here. Just the efforts of many different people come and gone. One of the daily tasks that our volunteer helpers do even now is the watering. Swimming pool, which I'm sure at one time originally was just a holding tank, it's quite an area of activity in the hotter months, July, August, and September, not only for the children, but of course for the visitors and the workers as well. We also have a black tank, 3,000 gallons of water, which is held there. The same area is used as our location for our Sunday morning worship services that are held here on the ranch.
Part of the ministry here at Santa Marta is evangelism with the children. We really believe that it's important for them to learn how to take the gospel out to other communities. And so as we have the opportunity to minister in some of the villages and the ejidos, we feel like they can, in place of just receiving the gospel, they have an opportunity to give. So we planned this trip to go into lower Baja, near the coast, and take the gospel to some villages where we believe it hasn't been taken before. And so we left about 2 weeks ago and went down to, our first stop was in Guerrero Negro, where we spent the night and had heard that there were a lot of problems there in the church community, so we felt that maybe the Lord would use us in the ministry of trying to heal that the problem up in that community. And when we got there, it was a blessing for us to see that a young man who had accepted Christ in a previous trip to Guerrero Negro, where we had a day dedication Bible school, he had accepted Christ and he had been to Bible school, and he is now pastoring a church there. The big church that's in Guerrero Negro has divided, and there's been a lot of problems there. And for 1 year, they've not even communicated to each other. So we felt like the Lord was going to use us there and trying to get these two divisions to come together and work harmoniously. And so we went around to different homes and visited some of the members of that church, both the churches, and really we decided to have a service that evening, and we invited both sides to come, and we were blessed to see that many from both sides did come to the meeting. We had the opportunity of having our choir sing and do the drama, Christmas drama, and present some testimonies, and a movie, and a message. And after the message was over, and we dismissed, both sides shook hands, and that's the first time they've had any communication within that year. So we believe that the Lord uses there in ministering to this divided church. In Guerrero Negro, we had people were really good to us in the fact that they opened their home up and served us breakfasts, gave us eggs for breakfast, and we had really nice meals there, and also brought us some fresh fish, which was an added blessing. Then from there we went on to San Ignacio, which is a town right along the highway, and we just stopped there to go to the post office and get some supplies. And then we moved on from there to Santa Rosalia, where Santa Rosalia we had felt we were out of gas for cooking, and we knew if we got off from the side road there'd be no place to get gas, so we decided to stop off in Santa Rosalia and purchase gas. Much to our amazement, we found we couldn't get any gas there, so we were delayed 2.5 hours in Santa Rosalia. And but during that time we had an opportunity to have lunch and fellowship a little bit and relax. And then we went on our way to Mulegé, and we arrived at Mulegé about 5 o'clock in the evening, just before the evening service.
Mulegé, we did arrive in the evening about 5 o'clock, and the children in the group put on a puppet show, and we showed films to the congregation, which was, the pastor there was Jorge Hernandez, I believe. And the following day, the children got together and went downtown, into downtown Mulegé. After checking with Delicado, the policeman in town, if it was okay if they sang and did some street evangelism in Mulegé, and he said that it's fine as long as they didn't tell anybody that we even saw him. So they put on a show in the park in downtown Mulegé and brought some people from that were watching the singing, brought them to church that evening, where we again showed movies and had a service that was handled by all the children of the orphanage that put on a drama for the congregation there. From Mulegé, the following morning, we left Mulegé on down through the tourist portion of Mulegé and turned off at a ranch called Rosarita and got off the Highway 1, Mexican Highway 1, and headed toward some villages and eventually towards the west coast of Baja. Prior to leaving Mulegé, Jorge, the pastor of the church, had warned us of robbers and bad roads that we possibly could not get through to the coast and even up the coast back to our destination in Santa Marta. The trip, once we pulled off the road at the ranch at Rosarita, was all dirt, unimproved roads that much of the time was nothing more than creek bottoms or river bottoms, and all desert, where we did stop halfway to La Purísima for a lunch break. And upon climbing over the mountains and the steep grades out of the desert area, we did arrive in the top of a plateau to look down onto La Purísima and a little village called Cuba. And it was just a miraculous view. However, it happened to be New Year's Eve, and we did run into some stiff opposition as far as presenting a gospel message at that particular time. They invited us to several dances and parties, but definitely no evangelism was allowed. So at that particular time, we decided to take a break, and we fortunately got a terrific lead to a area near a lake, or near a stream, a small river, where we were able to camp out at night and had probably the best New Year's Eve night I've ever had in my life. We had fellowship together. We even watched television, believe it or not, and had a communion service. And many spirits in the group that particular night and the next following day were definitely renewed in their service to the Lord.
For San Juanico, and it was a real dry and rocky road. It took hours to get there. We ended up on the coast, and we really felt isolated at that point. It just seemed like we were out in the middle of nowhere. And the whole town was pretty much asleep from the New Year's party before. We arrived in the middle of the day, and they were real gracious to us. They swept out about 5,000 beer cans from the social hall, and so that we could set up our show for the afternoon and for the evening. One of the things that we did during the show, during our services, was different puppet acts, and Amelia's going to share about what she and what we did with the puppets.
Bueno, pues cuando yo fui a San Juanico,
When I went to San Juanico,
yo sentí algo muy hermoso
I felt very beautiful about it,
cuando yo estaba haciendo los títeres,
and we were going to do the puppets there.
porque yo sentía
I was feeling
que lo que yo hacía
that what I was going to do
era para Dios.
was for God,
Y también estaba muy alegre
and I was very happy
porque ¿Por qué?
Because
Miraba a la gente alabando a Dios.
I saw the people that were praising God.
Y pues me gustaría ir otra vez para allá
And I'd like to go there again
porque me daría un gozo
I received a joy.
mirar nuevamente a las personas que aceptaron a Cristo.
I was very happy for the people that accepted Christ.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you.
Go on your trip.
In San Juanico, several people did accept Christ, and it seemed like for them we were a real blessing because there was so little contact with the rest of anywhere. The one church in town, which was Catholic, the priest only came in about once every other week. And there were several people who had been searching and trying to understand what life was all about and what the answer to life was. And it seemed that when they heard the altar call and when they had the opportunity to respond to Christ, that they just seconds took for them to pop up and get up there to the front to find out what they could do to be saved. It was a real blessing for me and for a lot of us there to see the earnest desire in people's faces, and to see that even the next morning they came back and they wanted to spend all the time they could with us to find out what they could do in this new life in Christ that they had. So it was very reluctant that we left and we went on up the coast, and we stopped at one place because we turned off on the wrong road and ended up at the end of a canyon, and found out that there are people all over this peninsula in just little pockets, and they're very isolated, and we're not sure just how much contact they have, but we were able to pass out some card talks, we were able to pass out some Bibles, and they seem to be real grateful for them. And we wondered if in the next several years if that might be their only contact with the Lord, or their only instruction as to what the Lord would desire for their lives. So we went on, and our last stop was in another little fishing village called Santa Rosalayita. And here there was one Christian family that seemed like kind of a bastion among the rest of the families there in that town. And from what we could see, they were holding out and trying to be a light for the Lord in the midst of that community, and trying to witness to their neighbors as best they could. And yet it seemed very important for them to have some encouragement, to have some nourishment, and to have some people come in and just share with them and make them feel that yes, they're a part of a greater family, and that it's important for them to be there and to be doing what they're doing.
A mí me tocó dar mi testimonio en Santa Rosalita.
It was my opportunity to give my testimony in Santa Rosaladita.
Fue un privilegio porque
It was a privilege for me because
la segunda vez que voy a ese mismo pueblo.
this is the second time I've been to this particular town.
Y miré a 4 jóvenes que aceptaron a Jesucristo por medio de mi testimonio.
I saw 4 young people come to know Jesus Christ because of my testimony.
Estoy agradecido porque me gustaría volver otra vez.
I'm grateful because I would like to go back again.
Yo estoy muy contenta que fui a Rosalita.
I was very happy that I went to Santa Rosalita.
Y estoy muy contenta que a mí me escogieron para ir.
I was very happy that they chose me to go.
Y me dio mucho gusto de ver toda esa gente que aceptaron a Cristo.
It made me very happy to see all these people that accepted Christ.
Y espero que alguien siga yendo para allá a predicar más de Jesús.
And I hope that somebody will continue going over there to preach about the Lord Jesus.
Y me siento muy a gusto porque todos nosotros no nos pasó nada en el viaje.
I'm very pleased because all of us that went on the trip, nothing went wrong.
No hubo muchos problemas en el carro.
There wasn't too many problems with the car.
y le doy gracias a Dios.
And I give thanks to God. In closing, you heard from some of the children that went on the trip. Most of the children came back with a really refreshed conviction of what the Lord means to them. And so it was really, truly a beautiful time for all of us that had the opportunity to go.
We're really excited, though, the fact that we can provide an educational background through the farm for particularly teenage boys as they come. Some of our own teenage boys that we have here right now have already had some pretty rough brushes with the law. Two of our boys have spent some time even in jail, and I'm talking about boys that are only 13, 14 years of age. Our children come from broken homes. They don't have mothers and fathers that love and care for them. So we believe that this is a #1 responsibility that God has given us here in this home. Pray for us and pray for additional laborers to come and help us in this ministry that God's called us to.